Have you ever just looked at an outfit and thought, what a pile of shit? You know, like, how dare you make me look at this? Or like, is your brain lacking every fucking neuron that would otherwise be in charge of artistic merit? Because if you have had these thoughts, then I'm here to help, because that is not a healthy level of anger to have, and that was me 1 year ago. And that is also me now. I have not changed. Okay, so why am I, someone who should probably be taking blood pressure meds every time I browse r/streetwear, teaching you how to appreciate fashion? So the idea behind this video is like, the more outfits you can appreciate, the better time you'll have in online fashion. And that's like, a microcosm for life. The more things you appreciate, you'll go through life happier. Yeah, this channel's gonna fucking do it all, man. Like, fashion, life coaching, all that fucking shit, bro. I would like to clarify two things before this video starts. The first thing being that, as I've mentioned already, this video predominantly pertains to online fashion. Like, if I were to see an outfit in real life, and I could be like, oh, I'm just happy to see clothes. But if that same outfit were to be posted online, I would probably be a lot more critical of it. And I think that's a double standard that, it's fairly common. I don't think there's really anything wrong with it. I just, like, online communities, places to discuss, whatever. So the second thing is, like, I have a lot of my own personal biases in fashion, right? Like, I'm not really that open-minded, but the points that I make later in the video should not be affected by this. But there's one particular mindset that I want to kind of address, which is like the circles of hell in fashion, or like the tiers of fashion, or like the stages of fashion growth, that's perpetrated by a lot of the community. And I'm just very cynical of this entire tier list. And I know a lot of it's just memes, just haha, but it's clearly like quite a popular metric for people to evaluate their stylistic growth with. And a lot of the times I just think like, all you've done is put on another uniform, except this one's all black and it's only available at like 2 retailers in the world, and you're just as easily butthurt if someone talks shit about your clothes. And I'm like, is that really fucking growth right there? And all of the times these people conflate their relationship with clothes as that of the same as like artists in abstract art, where the only direction they can move is the direction where fewer people understand it, or they're trying to like, or the only thing they're doing is like trying to subvert societal norms or move towards the avant-garde and abstract side of things. And yeah, I just think it's like a misrepresentation of what stylistic growth should look like. And I remember I was watching Sanjeev, and he said something like, you shouldn't become a cunt just because you bought some CCP prosthetic boots. And you know what? I agree, because I was a cunt before I bought those. I keep getting distracted. What was I saying? Fuck. Okay, so that's my little like pushback spiel on people that tunnel in on avant-garde fashion. But on the other end of things, there is nothing I fucking hate more than the people who say shit like everything can be streetwear, or maybe like, well, if it's worn on the street, then of course it's streetwear. Or fucking the people that are like, well, if you know so much, then why don't you define what streetwear is then? And it's just like, shut the fuck up, kind of like, holy fuck. I just think it's such a cop-out to like not reflect on why you like something, and it's just such a pretentious like ascended being fucking thing to say. Like, I don't even gatekeep things being streetwear so much as I just like see an outfit and think, wow, this sucks absolute horse cock, like all the fucking time. Like if someone were to come up to you and say like, I think all art is good, you'd be like, but if you dress really well, people will give you the benefit of the doubt for like any opinion you hold. So even if you were like, oh, everything can be streetwear, but you dress like super well, people will be like, oh, maybe he has a point. So if you are feeling attacked, it's probably because you dress like dog shit. Okay, I should stop talking shit and actually move on to what the video is meant to be about. So I'm just gonna go through the different angles I take in an effort to squeeze out as much merit from an outfit as I can, right? So the first one's just the most obvious. It's just your visceral reaction to an outfit. Like, you see it and you just immediately like, do you like it? Do you hate it? Like, sometimes you just see an outfit and you just like it. There's no, it doesn't like abide by certain rules, it doesn't subvert certain rules, but you just do. The reason I list this first is because like, really, it's the only one that matters, right? Like, if your instinct is to like something, then it supersedes any logical reason or otherwise why you shouldn't like it. But your visceral reaction to an outfit is kind of a culmination of like all your fashion experience, and because of that, you would expect that it would change over time. Like maybe at one point you just wore skinny pants, and every time you saw wide pants, your immediate reaction was just ew. But now that homme plissé is popular, you're like, fuck, better get in on that, So there should be something that evolves over time as you broaden your horizons and you reflect on why you like certain things more than others. The second approach I take is how well an outfit fares on a scale of conventional attractiveness or general aesthetic, right? This is like how people style denim jackets or skinny jeans or maybe suits. If avant-garde fashion was dressing artistically and gorpcore techwear was dressing for utility, then this one would be dressing socially, I guess. It kind of requires you to let go of the idea that there are tiers to fashion, or at least to judge it independently from that. And sometimes it is really hard for me to do that. It's hard for me to not look at these outfits condescendingly, especially if they're posted in a group that's meant for high fashion. Because to a large extent, it's just finding clothes that fit correctly rather than any actual fashion-oriented venture. And because of that, it is affected by the attractiveness of the person more so than other styles, I think. Attractiveness being not only physical but also the charisma and the personality of the person. And the reason I judge these outfits alongside the appearance and the personality of the person is because there's no reason for me to judge it in the context of fashion. Like, I could judge it by how well they execute a pre-existing idea, but in terms of fashion, they're not trying to do anything special. So all that's left is the general aesthetic of them as a person. I think it's still a worthwhile scale to use because a lot of people do put out quite quality fits while staying within a certain bound of conventionally attractive clothing. The third approach is boundary pushing, and I don't think I really need to explain this one. I feel like everyone who's into fashion will understand that, sometimes you see someone wear an item of clothing in a way that you haven't seen before and you're like, wow, that's neat. I like that. That is mine now. I'm taking that. That type of thing. But I do have two things I want to address for this approach in appreciating clothes, which is like, one, I don't really equate wearing boundary pushing pieces with an outfit being inventive. Like, it doesn't matter to me if you're wearing like an absolutely crazy piece, if you're wearing it exactly as it was shown on the runway. Like it could look good, it could look fucking amazing. Like it might score really high in how it looks, and that's me getting a little more critical. It's like if someone just buys a big Yoji graphic and they just wear that with black pants. And the graphic looks cool, the graphic looks great. But at the end of the day, it's still just a graphic on a dress shirt worn exactly as that. And, people will praise that. Maybe I'm being too critical, but I'm always kind of bored by those in terms of outfit building. The second thing is that even if an outfit is like super inventive, super creative, or hasn't been done before, it ultimately means very little to me if it doesn't look good to me. I'm just going to be like, okay, well, I will think like either we have different standards for what is aesthetic, or often I get the feeling that they have worn something unconventionally for the sake of just doing that. I mean, I have outfits in mind, but I don't want to put them here and just call anyone out. Well, I do want to, but I feel bad. And you ask these people what was the reasoning behind wearing certain things in a certain way, and I've seen a lot of people that will say something like, it's just so boring when the colors coordinate, or it's so boring when you abide by standard silhouettes. And it's just, I feel like, to me, if your outfits are fully dictated by rejecting what's currently trending or what's currently considered fashionable, then to some extent you're just as bound by those trends, except from the other end, right? I've seen people say like, oh, it's just so boring when the colors coordinate, like have some fun. Like, what, like, are you just rejecting half of like color theory because it appeals to other people? Like, this isn't meant to act as a deterrent for trying new things, but more so to encourage you to do your absolute best in making a fit that you are 100% confident in. But anyways, I'm just going to move on to the next point. Final approach I'm going to talk about, because I'm really losing my patience here, is looking at outfits through a lens of character design. And The reason I follow this so religiously is because I think it is what best allows for you to objectively judge the appearance of an outfit. To illustrate this, I would compare, like, say, imagine someone buying Off-White. Like, what's normally associated with that? Ostentation, self-indulgence, narcissism, maybe. But the thing is, I like Off-White designs, and I can say that because the first piece of clothing that ever caught my eye was the Off-White stripes, and I saw that in public. I had no idea what the brand was, but now knowing the context of it, it makes it hard to spend that type of money on it, right? But the thing is, I've read mangas where the characters have been depicted with Off-White or Y3 or something, and I'm happy to just enjoy the characters as, like, you know, they're meant to be like these cool people, and I'm just happy to accept that. Because compared to like a purchase of an item, that same item is artistically transferred into a fictitious world, it loses a lot of that context that we associate with it in a real life purchasing scenario. And you know, maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you don't want to judge an outfit purely based off how it looks, like I do. Maybe you want the socio-economic background and the brand history. Maybe you want all that when you look at an outfit. But for me, I'm predominantly focused on just looking at an outfit to see how it feels on my eyes. And the other thing about like looking at things through character design is that you can just draw on so many sources. Like you can look at fucking anime, you can look at movies set in the past, movies set in the future, movies set in alternate timelines, you know. Some people look at my outfits and say, you look like someone who's come out of an apocalypse, and great, I like a certain level of grunge in my clothing, and a lot of it can be compared to like media. Now the thing is that in the same way that you lose a lot of the context when you transfer an item into a fictitious world, when you take inspiration from a fictitious world, there's a lot more implications than what is purely aesthetic. Like if you were to take inspiration from like a fucking space movie and put on a spacesuit just because you thought it looked cool, people are gonna be like, oh, are you a spaceman? And you'd be like, nah, bro. And of course it's not a perfect isolation of objective aesthetic and the context, you know, because it's the same in the same way you see, say, Rick and Morty wearing Supreme as cringe. It's still a projection of what the artist thinks is cool. So it's not completely removed from like, you know, our society, but it definitely helps to a great extent. And it's still by far my favorite way to look at fashion. Like, you know, there's some absolutely insane characters out there. But yeah, maybe next time when you're making an outfit, you can look at yourself like a character design page, except you have no height slider for some reason. And you know, that way you'll have to take into account your build, your body type, whatever. Maybe that way you can make an outfit that's better aesthetically than normal. There's a few other things I would have brought up if I could be bothered, which was just like cost, the rarity of the items in the outfit, history of the brand. I don't fucking read fashion shit, so I don't know much about it generally. Actually, let me just brush on if the quality of the outfit to the effort ratio. I also do take that into consideration. Like the higher ratio is better because for some reason apathy is cool, I guess. Like I would probably take okay outfit at very low effort over a decent outfit at very high effort. I don't feel like explaining that. It's just like I'd go into it more if I was fucking getting paid to do this. And honestly, I realized the only thing I really want to do in videos is just like talk mad shit. That's why like the first half of the video just ended up being that. So I mean, like, fuck, I guess I'll fucking see you guys next time.